Hi everyone, welcome back to SweeUCI's YouTube channel. Today we will be doing a SolidWorks workshop, and if you've never used SolidWorks before, don't worry, this is a very basic beginner's tutorial. And if you aren't familiar with what SolidWorks is, it is a 3D modeling software commonly used in certain engineering fields such as mechanical or aerospace. So without further ado, let's jump in. Okay, so I've opened SolidWorks and this window pops up. SolidWorks is asking me if I want to make a part, an assembly, or a drawing. And today we're going to make a part, so I'm going to click OK. And I am using a mouse. I highly recommend it. It definitely makes it easier to make this part or anything in SolidWorks. So we'll see this panel pop up on the left side. This is the Feature Manager design tree. And we have our front plane, our top plane, our right plane, just hovering over them, and the origin. And now, you'll notice that if I don't hover over them, I don't see them anymore. So let's say I always want to see my top plane. So I'm going to right click, and I can click on this eye, so I can always see it now, even when I'm not hovering. There's also 3 other icons that pop up. So normal 2, it's going to make us look directly at that plane. And then say if I'm like really zoomed in and I need to zoom back out, then I can click zoom to selection and it's gonna bring me back out. And then let's draw on this top plane. So I'm gonna click sketch now and we'll see our sketch features pop up here. And let's draw a rectangle. I'm gonna click corner rectangle and let's put one corner on the origin. So if I hover the origin, you'll see it turns into an orange dot. I see that yellow symbol at the end of my pencil. I'm on the origin and I'm just going to click and drag out. And you can drag it small or as big as you want to. We can now put dimensions on it. Let's first do one end. So I'm going to click Smart Dimension. But you'll see first that these 2 lines are black while these 2 lines are blue. And in SolidWorks, blue means undefined. So there are no measurements associated with them. And maybe you're asking, well, why are there 2 lines that are black even though we didn't give any of the lines measurements? Well, this line knows that it is parallel to this line and it is in this rectangle. So these 2 lines have to be in this, they have to be the same length. And then also knows it is in line with this axis, so it can't, go anywhere. But these 2, if I exit out of Smart Dimension, I can drag them, make it as small as I want. I can make it as big as I want. But let's give them dimension. So let's say this is, let's do 5 centimeters. All right, perfect. You see, we still have one line. We still have Smart Dimension on here. Let's do length. And let's make this a perfect square. So I'm just going to do 5 centimeters. There we go. And now maybe you're putting in 5 centimeters, but it's giving you a different number here. That might be because you're in a different unit system. You'll see down here, I am in CGS, centimeters, grams, and seconds. So let's say I'm going to switch to inches. It's going to take me out of that sketch. Don't worry, if you want to edit that sketch, go back in and change stuff. We can right click, edit sketch, and it's going to bring me back in. Now let's make these nice numbers in inches. So I'm going to click on that number. We'll see this box pop up over here, and I'm going to change that to 5 inches. Perfect. Now, let's say we want to, say we don't have this dimension, but we want it to be a perfect square. What we can do is add a relation. So for square, all sides have equal length. So let's select this line here. I'm going to hit Control on my keyboard. While holding Control, I'm going to click on this line so that both of them are highlighted blue. I've selected both of them. There's 2 selected entities over here. We're going to click equal, and boom. If I click green check mark, all of my sides are defined. All of them are 5 inches. All right, so let's exit out of the sketch. There we go. We can move this around, take a look at our creation. I'm holding down the center button on my mouse and kind of dragging it around. But if you don't have a mouse and would like to kind of change your view, an easy way to do that would be to click on the space bar. So when I do that, we get a window over here and a nice cube. So I can change views by either selecting it from the window, or I can hit that cube again and use the planes on that cube to kind of move me around. And next, let's make this a 3D part. So I'm going to select sketch. We're going to do extruded boss base. All right, perfect. I'm going to rotate us around because I messed with the views. All right, we see this arrow here. Now I could just select this and drag up and make it how big, or I can make it, come from the other side of the top plane and drag down. But let's make it a perfect cube, 5 inches over here on the left. Sorry, it's kind of slow. There we go. And you'll see we are kind of zoomed in. It's kind of an awkward view. So I'm going to use this zoom to fit tool up here, and it will perfectly fit in the frame. There we go. Green check mark. And perfect. We now have our cube. Let's hide this top plane because we don't need it anymore. And then say I want to change the color of this cube. Maybe you find gray a little boring. So I'm going to right click on this plane. You'll see a ball with different color options on it. So I'm going to click drop down. This would be if you just wanted to change that color on that top face. But let's say I want to change the whole cube. I'm going to select body. And a new window will pop up over here with some different color options. So let's see. Let's make our cube light pink. Perfect. And we're going to hit green check mark. All right. We have our pink cube. And let's do one more thing on this cube. Let's drill a hole through the cube. And say I want to drill a hole on this plane, but these planes, in order to sketch on them, they're not where I want to drill that hole. So I can do right click, sketch, but you'll notice I'm not normal to where that we get that nice looking directly at it. So I'm going to do space bar. I'm just going to select this plane, and boom, we're normal too. And let's make sure our circle is perfectly centered on our face. There are 2 ways of doing this. You might find one way or the other easier. It's totally up to you. So for the first way, I'm going to do my circle tool. And I'm going to try to find the center of this edge. Oh, there it is. It's highlighted in orange. If you're not on it, it'll be yellow. So I want to make sure it's orange. Oh, but you'll notice I clicked. So that means I'm drawing the circle centered on it, but I don't want to do that. So I'm going to hit escape. Circle again. And then find that orange. And I'm going to go down. And you see this blue dashed line means I'm in line with that center of the edge. Perfect. Now I want to be centered on this edge too, because I want to be perfectly centered. So I'm going to find that. And eventually I can find where both centers are. I'm going to click, and now I'm going to draw my circle. And maybe you're kind of struggling keeping in line with that center point. I totally struggled with that. So let's do another way. I'm going to do Control Z, and I'm going to use center line. Now, I'm going to find, okay, there is our center. I'm going to drag down. And there we go. Find the other midpoint. And SolidWorks gives us this extra line coming out because it seems, we're just drawing lines. But I don't need it, so I'm just going to hit escape. And now I'm going to get a new construction line, the center line. Find that midpoint. Wait till it turns orange. Perfect. There we go. Now I can draw a circle on that center point. So yeah, totally up to you which way you want to do that. But let's give us some dimensions on that circle. I'm gonna select that circle. And let's make it 2 inches. You might see a different symbol here. My SolidWorks is acting a little weird, but it should look like a circle with a line through it. So this here. So now that our circle is fully defined, I'm going to exit our sketch. But now that the sketch is done, I can, kind of move my cube around, make sure it looks good, zoom in, zoom out. Now we gotta get this to become a hole all the way through the cube. So it is selected. I'm going to use a extruded cut. One more note before I go through. You should use the construction lines, the dashed lines. So this feature won't work if you used the solid lines. But yeah, so cut extrude. SolidWorks has beautifully assumed we're going all the way through this cube. Now there are different ways of actually, telling it to go through this cube. We can do, let's say, up to surface. Now we can tell it which surface we're going to have this circle extend through. Not a lot of options on this part, so I'm just gonna click this face, and there we go. It is through that, or we can do through all. That will go through literally everything you have on your part. So if this was like a U, it would cut through both ends of the U, if that makes sense. So this works for us, so I'm gonna hit green check mark. And there we go. We have our pink cube with a hole through the middle. So yeah, that concludes this SolidWorks tutorial. I hope you had fun. Thank you so much for building this with me or watching me build it. Make sure to subscribe to stay tuned for our latest videos, and thanks for watching.